back to the Mintner Method. I'm your host, Andrew Mintner, and on today's episode, we're going to go over the premier matchup of the weekend, which is between none other than Ohio State and Oregon. So, to give a little backstory to this, at the beginning of the year, I felt as if Oregon would be the team to beat in the Big Ten if they actually opened up their offense to Dillon Gabriel's strengths. And, I mean, I like to think that people can change and coaching staffs can change, but that's just not the facts of life, man. So, to put it pretty bluntly, in my opinion, I feel as if Dillon Gabriel is a gigantic upgrade over Bo Nix last year. Now, obviously, Bo Nix is now in the NFL, and he's doing okay for what it's worth. But Oregon runs this dink and dunk Mickey Mouse style offense, and they did this with Justin Herbert too, which is just fucking mind-boggling to me. But nothing has changed. They're doing the same thing. So just understand that as we dive into this shit. So Ohio State and Oregon are both extremely good on early downs. And that is what makes them so successful in general on both sides of the ball. As you can see, Ohio State's fifth overall in early down EPA on offense and second overall in early down EPA on defense. Now, Oregon is like no slouch. They're the same, 16th and 13th. So they're both very good. There's not a ton to touch base on right here. And even when we go to look at how they face versus, Power 5 teams, they're pretty much the same. You can see Oregon is second overall in early down ranks versus Power 5 teams. And then Ohio State, is much lower at 24th, which, you could be like, oh, well, that's kind of eye-opening. But, I don't really give a shit about that. Ohio State's first overall in early downs versus Power 5 teams on defense. So, it kind of is the same. It's, they're good. There's no farce here, right? No fraud check, I would say. So when we go to the advanced statistics to break down this matchup, this is where you're going to see the differences. Okay, Ohio State, a fuck ton of green on offense. Just all the way across the board, just incredible, right? So the thing that stands out the most to me is Oregon is just a little bit above average on defense, but they are horrendous against the run. And I don't want to say that it's all the Boise State game and, Genti just took advantage of them and just, really took it to them. But let's take a look real quick just to kind of understand what we're looking at, right? From a defensive standpoint, they got gashed against Boise State, right? But, for what it's worth, Oregon State still ran for 130 yards, 4.09 yards per attempt. Now, the other two games, I'm not really going to concern myself with those. So, but this is what's eye-opening to me, all right? They are 91st in rushing efficiency and 129th in rushing explosiveness allowed. Now, Ohio State is top 10 in both. This is a clear-cut advantage when it comes to this matchup. All right? And it's kind of what I said at the beginning of the year. Will Howard is not expected. He's done well efficiency-wise. He is not expected to carry this team and elevate it to new levels, right? No. He is expected to manage, and that he has done. And this team has an elite rushing attack. Now, when we go to the Oregon side of the ball, this is exactly what I said when I was previewing them in the summer. Normally, if you did not think otherwise, you would think Oregon is an explosive offense. They are not, okay? 120th in overall explosiveness on offense. They are not an explosive offense. They are an offense that stays ahead of the sticks and just, they just get those really good, efficient plays. They are not throwing chunk plays down the field. It's not happening. It has not been happening for quite some time now. So when we look across the board here, Ohio State boasts arguably the best defense in the country. And I say that with, confidence. They had a great returning production profile from an elite unit last year. And then, here we are, 108th in rushing explosiveness, 110th in passing explosiveness. It's a predication of their style. And I'm going to show you even more so, what I'm talking about. All right. Oregon, on offense, passing the ball, attempts 33.3% of their passes behind the line of scrimmage. Fifth in the country, okay? Now, yes, they rank 32nd in this attempt, but let me give you a little insight here, okay? We're going to go over here. The average EPA on a pass behind the line of scrimmage is negative 0.118. Okay? Now let's look at short attempts. Look at the difference in just passing the ball in front of the line of scrimmage. Not even far down the field. 0.094. Just an astronomical difference just to, throw the ball at least one fucking yard. God bless it, okay? So when we come to Oregon, yes, they do attempt, 82nd in short percentage attempts, which is 38.2% of the time, right? So that is just this. We call this a Mickey Mouse offense because they rank 5th overall in Mickey Mouse attempts. That means 71.5% of their passes are 9 yards or less. Let that sink in. That is that is the type of offense you would expect to be run at a lower tier school with lower, tier recruits who just aren't as talented, right? It's like a smoke and mirror style offense. That's exactly what it is, okay? That is not the type of offense you would run at a top 15 program. You would run something way more nuanced with more, just more oomph into it, But again, this is what they've been doing forever, it seems like. All right? So when you look at Ohio State, it's more balanced, right? Yes, they attempt a decent amount of short attempts, and they do have some behind the line of scrimmage, but it's not as egregious, And then we go and we look at the big dog throw percentages, right? So Oregon is 132nd in medium attempts, which means an attempt that is within 10 to 19 yards through the air, okay? And what's sad, and I said this earlier in the preseason, right? Dylan Gabriel is really good at these attempts. I surely hope that they will open it up more for him. They have not. And here we are. Ohio State, on the other hand, with Will Howard, he might be one of the best mid-range throwers in college football. That's what the stats say, as it is right here, at 1.2 EPA per medium attempt. That's an insane number. And then, they do not throw the ball deep, though. Ohio State is not opening up the offense and throwing 20 yards down the field. We predicted that at the outset that this was not going to be that type of team. It did not need to be that type of team. They're, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Marvin Harrison Jr., they're not on this team. Okay? So there's no need for them to – C.J. Stroud ain't throwing the ball. So they're not going to do that. They're going to play to their strengths, as per always. And so that it just shows right there. So when we go to the defensive side of the ball, the important thing is, okay, is Ohio State going to be able to defend these behind the line of scrimmage attempts, right? Yeah, 34th. I mean, that's not elite level, but this is. They're 7th and Mickey Mouse attempts defending. Okay, they're just this type of offense is just not going to succeed against Ohio State for an entire 4 quarters. They might catch him here and there, but they're not explosive. You're gonna when you run this type of offense, you have to get so many things right every single drive. I'm befuddled, like still diving into the stats and looking at it from that perspective. Now, when we come to the like time off and stuff like that, I'm almost positive they have the same amount of time for this game. Ohio State's coming off the Iowa game, and then Oregon is coming off the Michigan State game. Now, the thing here is this game is going to be at Autzen Stadium in Oregon, which is a insanely tough place to play, mind you. Extremely tough. But I am not going to sit here and side with Oregon, who has not evolved offensively yet. They have not. This is not the Pac-12. And I say that knowing that last year the Pac-12 was a very good conference, because it was, right? But this type of offense is just not going to work here. Now, when we look back at last year, they obviously ran through everybody, right? Except for Washington, which, they lost to twice. But they have consistently struggled with physical teams and teams that are able to match up athlete for athlete against them. And you are not going to out-athlete or out-recruit Ohio State in the Big Ten. It's just not going to happen. And so I know the line's 3 or 3.5, and Ohio State's on the road, and Ohio State hasn't really played anybody of relevancy yet. But I cannot get behind Oregon in this spot because they're not evolving. Like, they have a better quarterback than they had last year. They should open up the offense more, but they're not. And this is one other thing, okay? Unless they open it up, Ohio State is horrendous in the middle of the field. 115th in EPA and guarding medium attempts. But that's not going to matter if they don't throw it there. I'm at a loss for words. So I realistically think Ohio State is going to control the game script here. I think their advantages in the rushing department is just it's astronomical. They're going to be able to run the ball at will for explosive plays, for efficient plays. I feel like they're going to get the best of them. And I could be completely wrong, and Oregon could show up here and they could have a different game plan. But I'm not going to sit here and believe in fairy tales. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed the content, please subscribe, share with a family member or a friend who might be interested. And as always, if you want to suggest a matchup, you can leave a comment. I'll do my best to get to it and see if I can work it into my list as it is later in the week. I've had a busy week to start, so normally I would release videos Monday, Tuesday, but yeah, and I appreciate all the support. It's a very small channel. It's still in its origin, and I'm, as you can tell, really passionate about it, and I really enjoy it. So yeah, as always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.